all these episodes are on. I'm going to do things different, too. I'm just going to do a rolling open, too. I'm just going to fade in the music. This podcast will just be going. It'll be great.
It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, So, it's not like... Oh, look at that. I got a host. Thank you. Look at that. Look at that. More viewers than ever before.
Why am I not followed to your damn channel?
That's a good question. I don't know. Why don't you like to support people? I don't know,
man.
God, look at that. Follows, hostings. We should do this every week. Look at all the benefits I'm reaping. This is so great. So great. How you guys doing? Happy to see you here.
Yeah,
What's up, man?
I'll be honest. I have no direction for this episode. I have nowhere I want to go with it. But, that's cool. Sometimes you just got to do that. Sometimes it's fun just to hang out and kind of see what evolves from conversation, But I'm pretty sure I say, hey, everyone, welcome to Fluxtaposed episode 263. I'm Jason Lacey. I am joined, that's right, not by Lucas. He's still on baby duty. I have the cast, the crew of Nintendo Shack here with me in Fluxtaposed. Donnie Reese returning to the show, and Caroline making her first appearance on Fluxtaposed. Welcome. Welcome to my corner of the internet. You can swear. You can have a good time. You can do whatever you want. That's what we do on Fluxtaposed. Or we talk about bestiality and other weird things on the show. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what happens. But, it's been weird without Lucas here. This is week 2 without Lucas, and people are like, boy, Jason's just taking reaches now. Because it's hard. It's so hard. Content, like, when you do a show like this, like, we don't do news anymore, and, like, let's face it, you guys, we tried to have, like, a schedule of, this is what we're going to focus the show on this week, and it rotates, and then just like we were going to have a streaming schedule, and we stream once a year, it feels like now. So, so
it happens.
It's weird without him here, and I don't know. I can do 1 week. That's fine, because then I can just bring someone in. But after a while, I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I got a lot of stuff going on. Save me from myself. So that's why I brought you guys
here. What you're really
here.
saying is that Lucas is the brains behind the operation.
I mean, I'm the face.
That makes him pinky.
That's true. I would say he's the man that pulls. He's like the glue that holds it all together, and he makes it work. I just show up and like go herp de derp. I'm Jason Lacey. I have a beard. Listen to my show. I have a Patreon. Give us money.
I like beer.
Yeah, I like beer. I do that too. And speaking of that, you can support us at patreon.com/Fluxtaposed. No, we have a giveaway. I have another thing to get out of the way. We do have a giveaway for May. Guess what? I remembered when there was like 1 week left in May. We have a giveaway this month. I will have a link in the show notes. We'll get you entered. We'd love to give it away, guys. We're going to do the same thing we did last month. We have 3 awesome gifts, $20 in gaming currencies for you. We still have those Super Mario prints that were not claimed from last month. And we have that digital album of Menu from Myrteria Collective. So please, there's only one person that's entered right now, so the odds are very much in your favor.
Wait a minute, my patron entry doesn't enter me? I don't get entered?
Lucas has to remind me. Oh wait, yes, we did automatically enter patrons. Yes.
So it's not just one person.
So it's not just one person. I mean, there's a few.
Did.
I mean, we do. Well, No, I will say we do that when we do that when we do the drawings. We actually did. Because I had the debate about that, and I was like...
That's why I never signed up.
I was like, well, Patreon doesn't want us to do that, so we shouldn't do that. And they were like...
Wasn't that fun? That was a fun week.
Shame on me for not reading the licensing agreement nonsense stuff. I don't... And it was funny, because you were like, hey, Patreon, hey, Patreon message you guys yet? They're making that stuff... They're shutting that stuff down. It's like, no... We don't. We do it a different.
Maybe for you, Donnie.
We do it a different way. It isn't exclusive for patrons. We give our giveaways to everyone. And then I was like, all of a sudden, like at midnight, like, hey, you gotta shut that down. I was like,
yo, Fluxtaposed, cut that shit out.
And I was just like, then it was kind of like that was like the whole a big basis of our tiers were based on that, you know, because we did bonus entries, and it was just like, well. Great. Now I have to completely restructure and rethink how do I want to entice. Not that I'm expecting people to go through it on at least in my experience.
Like,
in my experience,
thing is, people should pay because they want to see you do what you do.
Yeah.
Right. Like from Patreon's perspective, that's what they should do. I don't think they realize that by maybe throwing together a little giveaway with something that you can manage up is just another way of showing thank you, which is hard to do.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, And so, like, when I look at a Patreon campaign, and I'll go, well, this tier, I don't really look at the bonuses. And it decides, like, I was only going to give these guys $3, but now because I'm going to get that, I'm going to, because I let's face it, at least for most of us that support other creators of our level, we're a bunch of amateurs, we're not like, this isn't our jobs, it's like, I like
super
these
indie podcasts.
Yeah, I like these people, I think I've said it before, and I still think, like, the Mega Dads have, I hate their podcasts, and I think the co-hosts are two jackals, but their Patreon campaign, they've always offered a lot of perks for their patrons. I think they've always done a really job of communicating, and I always thought they run their campaign really nicely. And it wasn't like, I'm going to donate them because of that. It's like, I just want to support a fellow creator in a way that benefits them, and then that's what I did, If there was a way for me to get Kevin on less podcasts, I would give more money to PSVG. Is there a way I can get less Kevin?
But you're happy to pay for more Bobby.
Or
you
less...
take money away from us, and you give it to Bobby, and you talk about Kevin on less podcasts.
We lost Caro. Did we lose Caro on your side?
Mm-mm.
Oh, on my side, she is connection interrupted. This is gonna be weird. I better refresh. Hold on. Stand by, folks. I'm refreshing the stream right now. There she is. She's back.
You were the one that was gone.
Really? That's weird. Weird. Now I got to read. Now the windows are all backwards. Caro, you're now Donnie, and Donnie, you're now Caro. Nope, it looks good actually. Weird. I don't know what happened. That was weird. Donnie was perfectly fine for me. Yeah. Where's Lucas? This is all his fault. Yeah, I know. I paid for more Bobby. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's a funny joke. I don't care.
It is a funny joke.
Brian was actually talking before like this whole thing came down. He, him being a copyright attorney, he was like, that's kind of skirting the line a little bit with even like making tiers like that available for giveaways and stuff for Patreon things. He's like,
yeah, I get it.
Like, I don't know if you can do it. It's a
it's
law
one of those
thing.
things where I kind of wish that they didn't do tiers then, because like the tier part, like from creator to creator, feels somewhat competitive. Because I can't be the only person that's ever looked at other people's tiers for ideas and things like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think you have to.
I kind of wish it wasn't like that. I kind of wish it was just feel free to donate.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll do something, maybe we won't, but it's open. And there's no tiers and all like that makes it a little harder. So you feel like, if I don't have a tier that's good enough, maybe folks don't want to support me like they support, these more successful people.
Right. And I
especially, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Especially if I take the stance that I'm not going to do anything exclusive, because that seems to be the tier, like, right? You get early access, you get a day earlier, and then you guys have known forever, just especially Jason.
Hey,
I've hated that from the beginning.
DLC though is well worth that $1. DLC
I think
is
so.
well worth that $1, I think.
I think so.
So I'm very disappointed I won't be able to join it this week, because I was looking forward to that, and that's a bummer for me. But we've talked about Patreon on the show before. You and I have talked about Patreon, Donnie, and I have to say that if it wasn't for Patreon, though, I don't think I'd probably still be doing Fluxtaposed, because especially where I'm at right now, I wouldn't have probably, with choices I made and things to cut back, and I probably would have said, you know what, it's not the financial side of it. It just doesn't make sense for me to keep doing it. Maybe if because I was always footing the cost for everything. I wasn't asking Lucas to repay me for the hosting costs or anything like that. But after a while, my wife and I would have probably said, like, if you want a podcast, there's plenty of other podcasts I could piggyback on. And then it was just like, do I want to keep doing mine? And then, because it's always that question of like a show of this nature that we don't have, it's us hanging out. It's us talking about stuff.
Which I love. That's why I support Fluxtaposed.
But here's the thing, though. Like, I listened to the OT, because Dev's here. Hi, Dev.
What up, Dev?
And I'm like, I feel like those, like, that's them talking, like, they always, like, Mo has, like, these great, like, questions he brings up about past experiences and things. And I'm like, I love that non-direct but direction it gives the show. And I'm like, Lucas and I are just like, if you don't tune in and you actually, like Lucas and I, or want to get to know us, this show you're going to be done with it in like 5 minutes. So at that point, it's like, well, at what point do you stop? Like, I feel like the show has a lifespan because
Jason,
of that,
you're being too hard.
I think he's being self-critical. Yeah.
Yeah, you're being too hard on yourself. Let me tell you something. If you don't like the hosts that are doing a podcast, you're going to quit on the podcast 5 minutes. Doesn't matter who it is. It's not your show. That's everybody. That's every show.
That's true.
That's every podcast forever that's ever been made. Do you know how many people have probably turned off Shaq because of me? Like that, I understand that happens.
Or me.
Like,
there's no girls on the internet. Why am I here?
No, there's a lot of people that have turned into Shaq because of you, and then they've turned out because of me. No, I get it. But I mean, I've listened to radio hosts and things like that. You'll follow personalities that you jive with. That's just the internet.
Yeah.
I just love your show.
Wonder if we have an expiration date because we're getting older. I'm already 35, and it's like at one point it's like, do you want two old white dudes talking about games?
No, I'm not gonna lie to you. There is a part of me that I've always, I don't know, I haven't dwelled on it. That's definitely not the word, but there's always part of me thinking like, how does the PSVG era like end? Because it will. Yeah. Everything does. At some point it will. And I don't know how that, I don't know. Do I just wake up one day and I'm like, turn it off? Or do we set like an end date and we just, I don't know. I have no idea.
I'll be honest.
I have no idea what the end of that road looks like.
I full disclosure, that moment when I was talking about when I had my breakdown or whatever it was a couple weeks ago, I was like, this should be it. This is like the moment. This is the sign that I was looking for. We're just going to be done, and it's weird to come.
But then where else would we go to share like experiences and listen to somebody shit about their internet service provider and the rigmaroles of contracts and hidden fees and stuff like that?
ISP.
There's so much family man knowledge.
PSV, I'd just be on PSVG DLC all the time. That'd just be my new thing.
You're saying they're like the home improvement of podcasts?
I mean,
so the running joke that I've always had with Fluxtaposed that I feel like, at least with a few people, I've gotten some support on is every time I listen to Fluxtaposed, I'm always doing housework. It without fail. I listened to last week. I was cleaning out my garage. I was cleaning out my garage, listening to Fluxtaposed the entire time. I feel like it's the volume, it's the topics, it's the perfect. You're like Car Talk. It's the perfect show for that. It just you sit like I cut grass. Oh man, I've cut my grass all season last year to Fluxtaposed. Every grass cut was set to Fluxtaposed. It's like I don't know. The Lucas and Jason is a good fit for it.
All right. So all right. Fair enough. I mean,
feel better about your show.
You guys know me. It's just Flux being Flux. It's what he does.
Yeah.
Every once in a while,
you're kind of emo Flux.
I'm the same way.
It happens.
You ebb and flow a lot.
So
I get you.
What's life been like? Not to like, ooh, Jason Lacey, but what's it been like post me on Nintendo Show? I mean, I still listen. I listen every week. I don't.
There's a void. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah. I mean, was it so much a 3-person show? And I mean, is it weird?
I think I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'll say it publicly. I think we had the best Nintendo podcast on the market when it was the three of us. I feel like the three of us bring. There's definitely like some camaraderie because we did it together, but the three of us bring our own special slice of Nintendo fandom to the show, and together, I think we encompass a lot. Right?
Sure.
So I don't think we have that. I don't think that's out there in a lot of Nintendo podcasts. Everybody seems to have a very strong, narrow focus on their Nintendo fandom. Whereas I think we all brought something to the table, and I think we always had all of our bases covered. We had Jason, the super uber competitive player, hitting the indie games, the platformers, indies. The Smash, right? We had me playing Labo and first-person explorers, and talking third party and playing Mario, right? And then Caroline, her JRPGs and all of her games like that, and we legitimately brought something to the table. Legitimately, not because it was fashionable, not because it was popular, not because we were looking for viewers that week for the new game. We brought it because we all were playing those things. Yeah. That's what we were playing. We spent our money on it. That's what we wanted to do, and we didn't stop doing it because people, nobody wanted to hear it. Like that's what we did. And I just don't think I don't think there's a Nintendo podcast doing it. I've listened to a lot of them, and I never found one.
I've never listened to another Nintendo podcast after I stopped listening to Nintendo Dad just because it was too hard for me to digest it and regularly. When you get like that super long pot, like above 2-hour mark, it's just like I can't fit that in. And then so many things are just talking about the same thing. And plus, I was already invested in Nintendo anyway. It's like you get tired of hearing the same thing on multiple shows throughout the
every week.
So I've never explored those waters again. So I have no experience with that.
I definitely don't like hosting. I don't like being the host. I mean, I think that's pretty apparent. I think most of our listeners probably miss the days where I wasn't the host.
I think you do well. I would never be good hosting.
I think you're like emo Flux a little bit sometimes. I think you do a good job hosting. I think you do.
I always feel it's it's not. I mean, maybe I am. I mean, you can't self-diagnose, right? But I'm in my head. I'm always a scatterbrain when I'm hosting. I don't feel like I'm ever fully paying attention to Caroline or fully paying attention to the topics or fully paying attention because I'm always jumping from one thing to the next. I'm thinking about the time, I'm thinking about the stream, I'm thinking about the audio, I'm thinking about the levels, I'm looking at the chat.
It's different when you're producing, for lack of a better term. You're when you're hosting the stream as well and producing that, and then actually trying to guide.
Yeah, if I wasn't doing the OBS and everything, I'd be happy to host. I'd sit there and host all night. Like, it's not the hosting itself that I mind, but it's all the other things. That's why I feel like I'm not really paying. It's not that I don't want to pay attention. It's just that I feel constantly distracted while I'm hosting. Yeah, you know. And I always feel, for whatever reason, I always feel rushed. I always feel rushed because, like you, I can't do, like, I didn't listen to Board of Video Games last week because it was like 2 hours, right? It was like 2 hours, 15 minutes, something like that. And I just looked at the time and I was like, guys, I can't.
Yeah. I will say,
at that point, it's like, how about you break it up and release it in over several days?
Sure.
I will say, I've slowly advanced, and now I listen to almost every show at 1.5 speed. I used to always be like 1.2, but now I'm up to that. I'm trying to get to Sean Capri 2x.
Capri levels. Yeah, that's where everybody starts sounding like chipmunks.
Because is it sad when, like, I know when the show is like 35 minutes long, like, well, I'm going to knock this out on my drive to work. 1.5 speed, let's go.
That's good. You know, I couldn't. I tried it, and it wasn't for me.
I should say, I did a very good job of introducing you two, because I'm sure most of my 3 viewers already know you all from my past hijinks anyway. But for those who are not familiar, this is Donnie Caro from Play Some Video Games, Nintendo Shack, the empire.
Greetings, Koopalings.
It's the empire that Donnie built. I mean,
sup, dudes?
It's a small world.
It's not
fancy
much of
meeting
an
you guys
empire,
here. Hey,
it was funny you were thinking. So I wanted to say this. It was funny you were saying, like, without Patreon, because our dear friends Bobby and Sean launched their Patreon, and they're one of many of our friends that launched Patreon. And I understand, like, the grind that somebody, like, a lot of our listeners overlap and share. And I understand the pressure. You're like, how do I possibly support everybody? Yeah. And, there were several times when, all kinds of folks launched a Patreon where our own team was like, what are we going to do? And I'm constantly reminding them, like, guys, we did this before Patreon. Like, we'll do it without it. We'll do it after Patreon. We're just fine. It's funny. I mean, I get what you're saying. I definitely do. You guys have been doing Fluxtaposed much longer.
Somehow we have. I don't know how, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I love that Patreon helps us do things. Like, we just sent off our mail list, for our first mail list item, and I took a box of shit to the post office.
I don't know what to do with all. I have so many business cards right now. So many business cards.
Get out there, man. Spread the word. Like, then, I'm trying to move that propaganda.
I mentioned it in the Discord. If you guys aren't there, psvg.com/Discord will get you into a very popping Discord. Lots of conversation. But there's been pictures shared, and I see my delivery is much the same. Donnie sent out this care package, right? A little E3 poster card, with a little, hey, thanks for supporting us. Very nice card stock. Designed by Caro. And then a plethora of PSVG swag, including stickers. Now, I piled them all. I spread them out. I noticed, there's a sticker to represent every show. Yet PSVG Prime has a couple stickers. The other shows have a couple stickers. Nintendo Shack has plenty of stickers. There was a quantity mismatch here.
So what I tried to do were, for folks that I thought, like, were favorites or listened specifically to certain shows,
that's
I tried to double up on their shows.
But I was like, well, Donnie just knows what's best. I mean, that's...
Yeah, so I that wasn't for everybody. It was very calculated, because here's the thing. The stickers... All right, so, I mean, this is Fluxtaposed, so let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, let's do it.
The stickers were like a month's worth of Patreon. And the shipping costs were another month's worth of Patreon.
Yeah.
So we're talking and then we're not counting the time from Caroline and the printing to print those things and the envelopes for the actual cards. I'm just talking about the stickers. So we had limited quantities of the stickers. I had enough to give everybody one. And then I ordered some extra Board of Video Games because they go to cons. And I ordered some extra Nintendo Shack, which I paid for personally. And what I did was, as I was sitting and going through all of our listeners, like, I definitely know that we have some listeners that are more fond of Shack, and we've got some listeners more fond of Board Video Games. We have some PSVG folks that have been there since the beginning. So I tried to double down on those stickers where I thought that people would enjoy them most, and I tried to double up on them within reason, like, to make sure everybody got theirs. And then, so, like, it was everybody got a little something different, and then the PSVG staff obviously got their shirts.
Well, and, some did. Lucas.
But see, yours
that's
arrived.
on Lucas.
I know.
Why don't you go help babysit?
It's in Michigan. I mean, it's here. It's in the state.
I did it.
I mean,
yours arrived in like a manila envelope, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so like some folks got those, other folks got like boxes.
The box.
So like a lot of people got a lot of different stuff. So like, Josh and Kyle, for example, like Josh is going to some board game con or something, like, right, the PAX Unplugged or something like that. I sent him a box of business cards and stickers, just as many as I could smash in there. The shipping on his little box of stickers was like $15. But he's going to go out. But he's going to go out there and hand them out, right? So it's like, let's arm them. Let's get them as much as we can. And so I try to do that.
We're just getting ready to start scratching the surface with physical merch tied to the campaign, and then it's like, I'm terrified. Just the
shipping is not cheap.
What I paid just to have the design done. Which, I mean, I'm happy with it, but at the same point, I'm like, I could have, if I had just pushed him hard enough, Lucas would have found the time to do something, and I wouldn't have, I would have saved a bunch of money there. But at the same time, I was like, whatever. I'm happy to take some pressure off him. I'm happy to have something done, and I'm tired of like, we should do this, and finally it's like, okay, we'll just move forward on that.
Well, me.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should do this.
Okay, I'm done.
Like tonight.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like now.
Donnie's been wanting the shirts though for months.
That's true.
I waited, so I bought Shaq shirts, and I got a coupon code that let me save half off of a shirt order, to which I then used it on the staff one, so we cut that deal in half.
That's solid.
So I got all PSVG team member shirts for much cheaper than I should have.
How many Shaq shirts did you get?
Bought 4 Shaq shirts and I gave one away, so I've got 2 or 3 in the closet somewhere.
Okay.
And then the idea is eventually we'll get Caroline to finish shirt designs for every show, and we'll get them up on the Teespring.
Oh, very cool.
So folks can buy their own. That's the goal. But Caroline's time has been busy with the move and everything.
Yeah.
So.
What's Carol? What's it like getting back finally settled? You started streaming again. What's that? What's that journey been like again?
I'm like, the word homeowner seems really, really fucking nice, and then you realize, oh crap, I'm a homeowner. So it's the mortgage every month, and then I want to go to
renting.
Yeah, I know, but I want to go to Lowe's and I want to buy all this stuff, but paint is like astronomical, but I want every single room in the house to be painted a different color than it already is, and it takes 3 weeks to paint one room.
Yeah, you just do that over time.
Yeah, I know. My dad's told me that. He's like, you have the rest of your life to do this. And I was like, but I want it done now.
Nope.
Yep. Like, I'm looking at redoing some landscaping, having some trees trimmed, putting new carpet in. Something else.
I dropped 5 trees last year.
I'll just potentially sell my house. So
I'm not allowed to plant or take up trees. Homeowners Association.
Oh, that sucks. I've had one of those before.
Here's how stupid.
But see, they do all my yard work.
Yeah, that's worth it.
That's cool.
Here's how stupid the Michigan market is right now. We are, because we were thinking about looking at condos. Now I think we've kind of ruled it out because we do like the character and charm that home, especially us. We've always had like a flair for vintage a little bit, but I want updated and move-in ready. I don't want projects anymore. Like, this house has projects. I can just stay here and do projects, and it won't be fun. But for instance, there's a house my wife shared with me today that's in a really cute neighborhood, and the house was great. It was all updated. Had a basement space where I could have because the problem is we could make a 2-bedroom work. We're only gonna have 1 kid. But I need a space where I can do this, where I'm not going to be right next to my son's bedroom, or I don't want to have to take up our spare bedroom. So it's like what we have right now. We have a living room down here, and I have my corner. It works fine. That's what we need.
Yeah.
So this house had all the things. It had 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It was all updated. It was good to go. And then all of a sudden we put out my wife emails the realtor, and we're like, oh yeah, we got a showing for tomorrow afternoon, which is Thursday, and then all of a sudden she emails back and it's like, oh, they want all offers submitted tonight by 9 p.m. The house went on the market today, and they want all offers submitted tonight by 9. And we're like, what the hell? I'm like, I don't understand why are they cutting out prospective buyers? Well, it comes to find out they have 11 showings already scheduled for today, and they have already in a contingency deal with a home they're looking to buy. And so
They're
they need,
ready
so
to go.
yeah, so they need to get under contract as soon as possible. So that's finalized, because otherwise someone could swoop in and buy the house they're looking to buy out from underneath them. So it's like there's no way we'd have a chance anyway, because we'd have to buy with a contingency, and they're not going to accept a contingency. So there's no way it's going to work. Like, well, we have to wait for our house to sell so we can buy your house so you can buy that house. You know, so it's like
2 mortgages is nuts.
right. So it's just like I don't even know how we're going to compete, and just the fact that like. I bought like my house would sell for $90,000 more than what I bought it for, which just doesn't make any sense to me either. I mean,
11 offers. You're going to be going through a bid war.
Yeah.
Like there's no telling how long it'll take.
Yeah. So now we're like, do we just stay here and
Yes.
have to do all this work, and then is it worth? Am I just going to lose all that money here? Do we just sell while the market's good? Do I move in with my in-laws? Do I rent? I mean, it's just sucks.
You have to reinvest into something.
The market
that's
goes up and
expensive.
down.
Yeah, adulting sucks. I mean, I hate using adulting as a verb. That's the whole millennial nonsense that people always make fun of people from saying. But I mean, it's true. It's just like this sucks. Like tomorrow, here's what am I looking for tomorrow? A meeting with a financial advisor. That's my excitement for the day. You know.
Goody.
It does suck.
And it's like I'm going to be poor when I go. I'm going to be poor forever, aren't I? And they're like, yep. I'm like, great.
You're very financially like responsible.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
you're
More
savvy
than
and
Caroline.
fiscal.
Sucks.
You're very savvy.
Because you know what? We haven't gone on a vacation in 6 years. That sucks.
It's okay. I would rather be firmly planted and knowing that I'm good in a financial situation than go on a vacation.
But that's the thing. I don't know if I'm good. It feels like I'm good, but I mean, it sucks.
I mean, you budget
I
for
wanna look
games.
over
I just
Jason's
blow it.
books. I want to look over Jason's books. He's well employed. He's got a nice house.
You want to?
You need to treat yourself.
I'm not going to
Jason.
disclose my tax returns. You can't see them.
You need to treat yourself, man. Just get a getaway. You don't have to be an expensive. You don't have to go to Hawaii or anything, but get away.
Yeah,
Everybody needs to do that. I do that twice a
We do
year.
the little ones, but I'm tired of like going to Northern Michigan. Northern Michigan's great. Don't get me wrong, but I need
Go to
we need
Ohio.
get
Go to
safe.
Indianapolis. Go to Chicago. Go somewhere else. Go to Canada. Fucking take the boat, man.
Take the boat.
Aren't there nice, like, how
Minneapolis.
far is New England?
You're right there. Go there. It's a cool town.
That's where the Megadads are near. No.
You go be on their
Gross.
show.
Oh God.
Aren't the lakes up there, the Great Lakes,
Yes.
nice?
Yep. I live an hour from it. One of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
When you're from
Not
there,
actually,
it's
not
not.
even that.
You don't
Yeah,
feel like
I
it's
mean-
as
I
cool
see.
as it is. When
I
you're
mean,
not from there.
there's great spots here, but I mean, I don't know.
People
We'll see.
vacation.
Maybe they're gonna
wait,
tell
are
me.
you
man.
in the UP?
No,
No,
I'm not.
You're not a Youper.
no, I'm a troll. I live under the bridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's what they call us down here. You know, it's your
I'm-
Michigan
I'm-
slang.
I'm going on vacation in like 10 weeks. And as you guys know, because you guys have PSVG'd forever, I mean, I always go on vacation. I go on vacation every fall and every summer. Because if I didn't, I would literally go insane.
I feel
I would rip my hair
I'm
out of my
just-
head. Like, I have to.
I love being inside my house, and I feel
So do I, yes.
yeah.
I feel if I leave for 2 or 3 days, there's something wrong. Like my
The last time
body
I went on
just
vacation,
doesn't
I
like
didn't
being
go
out.
anywhere. I stayed home. But like, my vacation is a vacation from work.
Yeah.
I
And
see.
I turn my, like, I'm unavailable. As I usually tell my boss when I leave, the city better be on fire. Seriously, like, Sherman better be back before you call me
Nice.
again. Don't call me.
See, I can't stand missing work either because I get 20 emails in an hour, and you can imagine over the course of a week how much I have to play. I'm going to be more stressed when I get back
well.
than I was when I left.
It's worth it.
Yeah. My problem is now is I either have to schedule my vacation around our payroll, or I just have to do it while I'm gone, and I'm not gonna like try to map out the calendar because
You and Miss Lacey need to travel down to Atlanta. Come hang out with me and Caroline. That's what your
Yes.
vacation should be. Our kids can play together, man. We'll take you to Six Flags. We can
Six
get you
Flags.
a burger.
There's
Like,
better things
I
than
like
Six
I like
Flags.
burgers.
we've got breweries.
Vortex.
We'll get you taken care of. Come hang out.
We got lots of breweries.
I will go anywhere at this point. I mean, it's just
We're under heat advisory right now, though, so
no, that's not fun.
kinda
It's hot
sucks.
as fuck down here.
My worst thing is like right now I feel like I have like there's so much like hinging, like I'm just like sitting here waiting for my mid-year review because that kind of gives me a roadmap where I can plan out what the rest of the year will be like, which I'm not looking forward to in a way because usually most of my reviews they're always fine, You know, they're somewhat performance review, but there's always like, well, you know, what do you think about the culture here and this and that, and then this is the first.
So I wanted to ask you. So when you do your review, how corporate is your office? It sounds very corporate.
Very.
Like, do you guys have like informal relationships? Because I mean, if they're asking you like, how's the culture?
Oh yeah, we have informal. We have informal, but so like people this came up in Discord actually too, because people it's weird because people think I'm
the person that's doing your review, the person that's asking these questions. How often do you talk to them?
All the time.
Do you go out to lunch with that person?
Not regularly, because I hardly leave for lunch. But he's my boss. So so my company was founded by two guys I used to work with, who I actually used to live with. I worked with these guys for 5 years, and then I roomed with them for 3, and then they got fed up with the other company and quit and started their own thing. And then another partner came on board that I also worked with. So I've known the owner who's
okay. So you've got long.
You're pretty chill.
Yeah. So I've known the leadership for.
And they still ask you with things like how. Do you think
because
the
for me,
is here?
because I sit in this weird gray area where I'm not leadership, but I'm in a different tier of a standard employee. So I'm like somewhere I would be.
It's like his podcasting thing. Yeah. Not PSVG, but he's not Yumi and Capri. He's just kind of this. Yeah. This thing that we
go. So I'm like middle management, but like normal employees look at me like in a leadership position, but I'm not in leadership. It's really weird. So like I get a different sense, and like employees are going to be more open with me discussing things than what they would tell their boss. So that's what they'll ask me is like, what do what's your vibe out there? And this is the first time. Usually every time I go in there, I'm just like, oh, things, you could do this. But this is the first time like I'm disgruntled a lot now, and I'm just like every other day I'm like in my Google Drive and I'm like typing up some cliff notes. I've got like probably 10 bulleted point stuff already I want to bring up, and it's just like it's not going to be fun. And I'm not looking forward to it. But at the same time, it's like I don't know. We're in this weird growth period because we went from having, we've already hired, since we moved in February, we've already hired like 6 employees. And we're looking to hire, we're probably going to extend an offer to a new sales rep. We've got somebody that we just shot like this promotional video. We had this production crew in. We spent a ton of money having this video set for a website, for marketing, for recruiting. And then one of their sales guys was liked our sales pitch and was looking to jump ship from the production company. He did sales for this production company, wants to come do sales for us. So I mean, we're going to be at, like, when I hired in, we had like 12 employees, and we have like 43 right now.
Oh my God.
So
that's insane.
And that's in 4 years. So we're going through a lot of growth. So I think there's a lot of problems now because you've gone through where you can be a smaller company and have those loosey-goosey kind of relationships and regulation, but now it's got to be a little more
buckle down.
Yeah, you have to be a little more rigid, a little more control.
You actually have to fill out forms and stuff now.
Yeah. And I'm the person who has to
do
the
that
forms.
Sucks. So we only have 8 people that work on my entire staff. Now we're part of this much bigger like government complex, but still 8 people. So I have a performance review coming up as well. That's the reason I was asking.
See, we have a firm of at least 100 people probably now, and we don't do reviews, and I wish we did because so many incompetent people that work there, and I'm just like,
Caroline's that person in the workforce.
I've got a lot of problems with people, and now you're going to hear about it.
I seriously am, and they asked me to keep tabs on some people.
I'm the opposite. Well, my last performance review, like, I was such a pain in the ass, and my wife is like, Donnie, you have got to have better tech. But like I've talked about in DLC, and I'm very important.
They're not going to get rid of you.
I'm very important. Right. I'm essential personnel.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
Very important, and I am one of the best at what I do. I just got a national award for what I do. Like, I'm one of the best at what I do. So I go in, and my boss always does like this compliment sandwich thing. And you just see me, and I'm sitting there at the table, and I'm like, really, dude? Like, can we get this? I have work to do.
Yeah.
It's like, you know where this is going. I know where this is going. How about we just get there? like I hate all of this red tape, bureaucracy stuff, because it's government, right? And that's government out the fucking idiot. Really government, you got to do that always. So I understand he has to do it, but I always hate it. I'm like, can't you just make the shit up, man? Like, just write some shit down on the paper, and I'll sign it, and we'll move on. Because I don't know. I'm more of like the salt of the earth type.
Yeah, I got shit to do.
I couldn't work in some place that was very different than that. Like I wouldn't thrive well. People are like, this kid is just the rudest fucking person alive.
That's my brother. I work with my brother, and he's just like he blows my mind the way he does things. So
I don't know if I could work with a family member. My mom works in the same firm but in another office, and when she calls me, I'm like,
it's just one of those things. She's like somebody like it's like 2 years ago. My boss was like, you could like dress more professional. You wear like ties and suits and things like that. And I was like, yeah, I could. And then I could also like not run Super Bowls or work with the FBI. So like,
what would you rather me do? Huh?
Let's pick one, right?
Yeah.
Let's.
I just see like George Costanza. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Damn.
I mean, like I said, I hate it. Like, I mean, this is how it's my natural like reaction to things like that. You know, it's like, Donnie, you know what you could really do better? I was like, not being the best in my field. Is that what you're about to say? Like, because I thought I was the best there was. Like, you want to be the best? I am the best. Yeah, but you could do these other things better. I'm like, oh, okay, so just perfection across the board. Got it.
Great, thanks.
It's like that's like when you drop that GIF in of all those guys going, oh!
No.
And I feel bad. And my boss is amazing. He's like my favorite. That's why I work where I work, because my boss. And I get what he's trying to do. You know, you never want somebody to like, not try hard and anything like that. But it's also like he and I have worked together for so long. And when we started, our agency was on the brink of collapse. We were on the brink of being shut down when we both joined. So what we've built it into and like where we've come from, it's one of those situations you're sitting there at the table, right? And you're like, come on.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Of all things you want to bitch about.
Yeah, it's like, we know how this goes. Like, just fucking let's move on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like the thing is, like you got to pick your battles too. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm the only person with a private office. I get to park up in one of the fancy reserve spots. So I got these perks, but at the same time, it's like I don't have someone. I work all day. I get a lot of shit done, and I do a lot of stuff that nobody else does. So I mean,
speaking of your work all day, dude, you gotta get out. You gotta leave for lunch.
I don't.
You can't.
That's the problem.
You can't sit at. You got to stop doing that. That's why you feel the way that you do, and that's why you act the way you do. You got to get the fuck out. You got to go walk somewhere. I don't care if you just go outside. It doesn't matter where you go. Go in your car and listen to Zelda and chill while you eat your sandwich. But leave your office. I'm telling you, it's a mindset. You can't just sit there all the time.
I have been better about like not working for like
you don't
an hour
work a normal job. You don't work normal hours, so like it's not a comparison.
You suck, Caroline.
I didn't go out when I would go grab my lunch and come back, or pack my lunch.
But you would still go.
Sometimes.
So the reason I say that, Jason,
it's true.
I connected to you when you said that, because most of the time, I sit at my desk and I eat, while the whole staff eats together. But I'm not really like a people person.
Yeah.
So and they know that, right? So they'll throw parties and stuff. They know I don't like parties. Like, don't throw me a party. I'm not interested. Yeah. They know that. But there is a huge difference in my day
when you get that.
I work about half a mile away from a university, and they have a huge food court, and it's outside. And when there's a nice day, and I walk down there and I just like relax and get a sandwich or a salad and hang out, and, like normal people in their lunch break, it's such an uplifting thing, and it's such a small, tiny thing you can do for yourself, but it makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference because it just gets your mind out of it. Like you're not dwelling on it day after day after. It doesn't compound.
Right. And our problem is because like we're not a call center, but we're very much like a call center environment where we always have, the phones are always going, and we have, we're not everyone's
schedule
on lunch.
Breaks and
right.
Stuff.
That's what happens. So you have rolling schedules, things like that. So it's like if I don't take it when like a majority of people are, there's always going to be someone walking in like, hey, can you and then you're
when I was a dispatcher, I used to feel that way. And when you work dispatch, it's very much the same thing. And when I was a dispatcher, it was mandated that you leave, because if you didn't, that's what happened.
Yeah.
So it's important. You gotta separate.
Yeah. I'm trying to like, I know for me too, I'm an ass a lot to people, and I'm not trying to be. Like, people come in and like I get so annoyed if someone wants to walk in and ask me a face-to-face question. I'm like, you could have just IM'd me, and this would take 2 seconds. So why do you have to walk in here? Tell me this. It's annoying, and like I have to take off my headphones, and I have to talk to you. And
I'm the same way.
And then afterwards I'm like, fuck, I was such a prick right now, and there's.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I don't say it though.
I do the same thing, but it's kind of a prick thing to do.
Yeah.
So I was having to remind myself. I'm like, don't be an ass.
I was like, don't be an ass. So like, and then I do need to actually leave for lunch, and it's like, I can go. It's like, you know what? I can actually go out to lunch, and actually, I bring a lunch in every day. And it's like I can actually go out to lunch and spend.
So what you should do is 2 days a week. 2 days a week, go out. Just go out. And what you really need to do is you need to find a friend or two to go out with, but at least 2 days a week, just go out on your own. Just go out. I don't care if you bring your lunch or not. Just go somewhere and eat it. Just leave and come back.
Go out and play some Pokemon Go on your phone or something.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if Michigan isn't in perpetual winter, but Actually, it is finally nice here. Okay, so it was 70. It was 70 Monday, and then yesterday it was 50 like barely 50, and then today it was almost 80. It's just like, woo.
They're saying it's gonna be 105 here on Monday.
It's gonna be in the hundreds.
No, thank you. That's insane.
But to be fair,
it's
that's
boiling here. That's the temperature. Boiling.
High. Just another day in Georgia.
This is like the Jason Lacey self-help show tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate. I'm not gonna lie to you. As a avid Fluxtaposed listener, I feel like you are your own worst enemy.
No, it's true. Like
most times,
a lot
it's
of,
like I'm listening and I listen and I wish I was there to say other things. You know.
I think a lot of it right now is I'm so. It's not like I feel pressured at work, but it's like I just want to I have to do everything, and it's like because I want to maximize my earning potential, and I'm driven to succeed. So it's like I want to do all this. It's like right now when I have downtime, it's like all of a sudden this week I was like I have time where I'm just sitting here. Well, time to start going on Code Academy again, and so now I'm. I rebrushed up on SQL. Now I'm trying to teach myself Python, and
God,
it's just like the year I finally want to learn to code something.
That's what I do.
Well, I do a lot of data.
Nerds.
I do a lot of data. Like I do all the reporting for Office, and now we're looking at like we have this. We have a phone system that's built on IP. What is it? Oh God, I can't even think of what system we're on now. But essentially, like there's no reporting for our phones. So when we have our dispatchers are they're booking shipments and answering the phones. We want to be able to we need to have some way to hold people accountable if they're not answering phones or they're not making a lot of calls or if you're not covering a lot of freight. What are you doing with your time then? You better at least be doing a lot of check calls or doing other things to get updates on shipments and things of that nature. So unfortunately, there's no way to automate that reporting through our phone the company that hosts our phone system. However, no, they do have these new phones have webhooks apparently, so we can get webhooks for every time they make an outbound call, every time they answer a call. So now it's the issue is though, like. I want to be able to actually get some real world application by learning this stuff. I want to actually have something where I can actually take these skills I learned and try to apply them some actual real world project. Because it's one thing to just go, well, this is a tutorial on your fake company and you're going to do this. I mean, you can do that how many times, but you're not going to really. I don't think you're really going to get that retention, so you can actually do some real world application of it. So we'll see, hopefully, but. I don't know.
I didn't go to school for coding. I did a lot of coding self-help things, like you're saying, but all the coding I learned were me building things for people to actually use.
Yeah. Until
you build things and people break it, and you see like how human behavior interacts with code, then your code isn't worth shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so there's a lot of things that you don't learn.
Yeah. And I think I might be too hard on myself. Well, mention that, but I mean, like, because there's times when I'm learning stuff, I'm like, well, that just seems so common sense. But it's because I have a foundation there. I mean, I took various programming languages in college. I wouldn't say I'm fluent in anything, but I've had a base there. And I mean, I do so much Excel heavy work, and I feel like anything, if you can do a lot with Excel, I mean, those formulas and a lot of the things that you have to do inside Excel translate
access,
into
stuff.
It all translates into there. So I think it's just like. It's like when I was watching Jeopardy tonight before we came to the podcast.
James is the shit, is he not?
Don't you like that same shit-eating grin he makes every time he wins at the end? He's like...
He has an underbite, so he goes... Yeah.
Yes, I love like we hadn't watched until like yesterday. It was the first time we actually watched him on there. I just like he's like gets that first daily double, and Alex is like, "How much do you want to risk?" All of it. And just this little hand gesture, and he's just like really cocky. But I mean, if I've won almost $1.8 million, I guess I'd be cocky.
He's been that way though since the very first time he was on. He's so entertaining to watch.
But it's like my whole point was like with the Jeopardy question, where it's like you see the answer, and you're like, well, this is just too obvious. That can't be the answer. But it's because you actually know it, and you just don't trust yourself because it's just so because it's so obvious. And I think that hits me sometimes when it comes to code or something like that. I'm like, well, that just seems that's the answer. That can't be the answer because there's no way that
Yeah.
Whatever. Enough about work. I mean, God, I've talked about work all day. I'm going to go to work again in like 9 hours.
Let off steam, man. I feel you. A lot of my office depends on my work. Like if my work wasn't there, my office would probably close. It's just being legitimate. I mean, that's just what it is. Like that's my work is our export. It's our product that we lend to partners. So without my work, there are other things that we do, but it's just not as important.
Yeah.
Right.
I,
So that's
I've
what
had
it
I've had
boils down to.
multiple girls tell me, if you quit, I'm quitting next day. Period. Just
So
because
for, like,
I'm kind of the crux in there.
I know that stress. I felt that stress during Super Bowl and all the events that we do. Like, I feel that stress. I know what it's like to be like, man, if I leave, like
Yeah.
if I don't come through, if I don't do this and not just do it, but do it like in the best way, like
Yeah.
everybody else is kind of depending on me here.
Right. I think my issue is it's not that I'm overpaid, but it's like I don't know where else I would go to be earning anywhere close to what I make right now. So it's
Gotcha.
like that's pressure too, as it being the provider for my family. It's like I don't know what else I would do, because like because my technical title is administrator, but I'm not an office administrator by any means, because I also do our IT, I also do our HR, I also do our
Sure.
payroll. I'm going to
Yeah.
start doing our AR. I'm going to do, so it's like, how do you can't, I mean, I probably could go to any other company and do one of those things, but I'm not going to get paid for, so
Yeah,
it's
you're not
like,
as important as you are now.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
uh,
I could go in a lot of places, but I'd have to move. I couldn't stay in Atlanta and do it. I'd have to go
I'm
to
just,
Texas
like,
or Florida or California or something.
For me, I've just got a maid in the shade. I hate my work, but who else gets to work at home 4 days a week?
right. That's
Right.
a nice perk
Yep.
for sure. Although, we've noticed a funny pattern on Discord. All of a sudden, Callow will be like, well, I'm not feeling so great today. Guess I work from home. And then all of a sudden it's like, Callow has signed into Xbox Live. And it's like,
Yeah, I'd do that. Do that on occasion.
Callow, huh? All right. No, we love Callow. We just like to give him crap. So, yeah, man, it's crazy times, like Lucas, I feel for him right now too, because just before baby number 2, all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to do 2 podcasts. I'm like, really? You want to sign yourself up for that? And now he's got 2 kids, 2 podcasts.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I love Lucas on PSVG. Him and
it's
Kevin.
good.
I think they're great.
Rapport. They are great.
Kevin really did need another.
He needed his partner.
He needed
He needed a partner. And those two have a really, like, they have a similar humor style, like comedic timing.
Yeah.
That plays off real well together.
It's true. Caroline, I want to get back to it because Donnie's probably like me. Because I still stream every once in a while, but if I get like 2 people talking, I'm like, this is amazing. This is the king of the world right now. And then I
hate streaming.
You had like a streaming empire, and I'm sure you'll get back to that. But what's it like? Because you've got like a good following of people that like to come out.
I do.
And hang out.
I'm
just curious what that's been like to build your own kind of like a little community.
I've met a lot of great people. Like Benji has probably been like there since almost day 1. He followed me from. I would talk to him in N64 Josh's thing, and Josh helped me get started. He's like, here's what you should probably get for equipment and stuff like that. And Benji was there pretty much day 1, and now Benji and I talk every day. We're like, it's just I like it more as a camaraderie thing, as opposed to I'm here because I want some extra time making money playing video games. That's not while I'm in it at all. But yeah, it's definitely I was having withdrawal, especially when I was doing all of the moving and crap. I was like, man, I really wish I could just take everything out of the boxes, set up my streaming, and be good to go. But there's no way you can do that. There's a lot that goes in. It takes me about 10 minutes to set everything up. But yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. And Brian was actually talking to me the other day. He's like, I'm really glad you found that as an outlet to like do things with, because he said that, he says it's good for you because otherwise you would just be sitting and waiting for me to get home, which is sometimes very late in the evening.
Yeah.
And it's good because I have something to do and people to talk to. Otherwise I'm sitting here by myself feeling lonely and miserable. It's a good thing. It's a lot of fun.
Good. I mean, I think I think we've mentioned this on the show before. It stinks that technology is where it's at now, because this is where I'm least available to any of the stuff that I would be interested in. Like if I was 25 and we had this stuff available, I'd be like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But, but not to say that I'm not gonna, I want to trade what my day is like. But I mean, it stinks when. Not that I want to stream, and not that I want to capitalize on things like that, but it's just like, it's tough when your day's spoken for, Like,
once I get pregnant and once the child comes along, it's probably not going to ever happen again. The streaming is just not going to happen.
And then you just got to get your kid good at playing the games too, and then you're like,
I guess I was looking on Etsy and they've got those shirts that's it literally just says waiting for player 3, and it's got a controller and it's pointing down to your stomach. I was like, I got to get that shirt when I end up having a bun in the oven. I don't want to throw away my life just yet, but I am almost 30. I am almost 30.
I mean, my wife was 20. Was she 20? I think was she 29? She got pregnant. So she's right around that same age, so you'll be fine. You got it.
Yeah. Brian doesn't want to. He gave me so much grief. He's like, we should start trying. I'm ready. I was like, I want the house. And then we get the house.
And he's like,
and I'm like, okay,
let's go.
I'm ready. And he's like, well,
I don't know.
No, he just says, I've got 2 trials later this year in October and November, and I want to go on one more vacation before then. And I'm like,
smart.
Okay.
Yeah, that is smart.
I guess it is, but I'm not
Brian's
getting
a very
any
smart
younger.
guy.
I remember like
Caroline, that's ridiculous. You're not getting any younger. You're plenty young for many years. So you're fine.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
like,
absurd.
one of my friends was like telling me, he was like, if you're gonna wait until you're ready, you're never gonna have a kid because you're never, you'll just never be ready. And it clearly,
if you're gonna wait till you're ready to do anything, you're never gonna do it.
As being as the guy in the marriage, I feel like, of course, I was the one that like dragged my feet, because my wife is like ready to go, and I was just kind of.
I'm terrified. I'm absolutely terrified. I just see it as something different, like just something that's not natural growing inside of me. It just seems like it really does seem like an alien.
Yeah,
it's gonna be weird.
It terrifies me. I don't know. And I'm more afraid. I have this super, like, my anxiety is through the roof 99% of the time. And I'm just afraid that I'm going to do something by accident that will end up killing it. That's just how I feel.
It's normal.
Yeah, that's normal too, I think.
I'm glad mine are almost gone. So.
God. Jack is like 7 or 8, isn't he?
Not that far behind Victoria. She's going on 12. She'll be driving soon. They'll be out of here. And it was just like,
just think, pretty soon Victoria can just drive Jack around. You won't do anything anymore. I mean,
hell yeah, absolutely.
Like,
I'll make him cut the grass.
Just say, don't kill him. Just don't kill your brother.
I mean, it's. I'm not lying. I'm being serious. I mean, it's not that I don't love my kids. I do, but there's a benefit of having kids like super young, is that you can enjoy life, before you're super old.
Yeah,
and I'm looking forward to it.
That was my dad's words of wisdom to me one time when we went out to eat this burger place, and he got this beer that was like 8.5%. And my dad did get into craft beer, but he doesn't like super strong beer. Actually, no, excuse me. It was above 10%. It was called the Train Wreck, and yeah, my dad had 2 of them, and he became a train wreck. And it was like my dad spouting words of wisdom, and he's all like, first of all, he gets this. My dad's a little immature, which is where my brothers get it from. But all of a sudden he gets this look on his face. I'm like, oh God, he's gonna say something terrible. And sure enough, he's like, I just realized something. And he's like, how did he word it? He was like,
oh God, I can only imagine.
He just alluded to the fact that he had sex with my mom and my stepmom. Like these 2 different women
at the same time?
No, not the same time. But I can't remember how he worded it.
Awesome.
But he was like, just
Donnie, Jesus.
He just made
can't
this
believe
weird,
his ex-wife was down for that.
Made this weird sex joke, and then he was like, well, I don't know why you've waited too long to have kids. You don't want to be like me and be old and dealing with this bullshit like your brothers. You don't want to be old and deal with it. You got to have your kids when you're younger. And I was like, thanks, Dad. Can't really.
You've just ruined my point. I was thinking in a much different way. I'm looking forward to getting back to life where the sole focus wasn't on the betterment of your children, where you can actually take time to invest into like the enjoyment and the better life, empowerment of your partner, and get back to doing things together and exploring things together.
That's where we are right now.
I got Child's Play movie coming out next month, and I'm such a huge fan. And it's like I'm fucking sitting around trying to figure out how the fuck I'm gonna get a babysitter just to go see a movie.
Yeah,
it's like.
We actually thought about it, and we were like, the last movie we went to was in October. That was the last time I went to a movie.
Oh, the last movie we went to was Incredibles last summer.
We used to go to like New York City, not a fucking movie. We used to go out, go do things. And I want to get back to doing things like that. I want to get back to doing.
We still haven't seen Detective Pikachu.
Fun things. I want to go do fun things and do stuff like that. And it's just kids make it hard. It's nothing. It's not their fault. It's nothing against them. That's
if
the byproduct of having
if you're
kids.
doing parenting right, yes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
kids
there's
make it hard. It makes it
a lot of
difficult.
people that don't do things like that, and
Sure.
and that's
Yep.
it's very unfortunate. But yeah, if it's hard, you're doing something right. Because if it's not hard,
exactly.
then you're
that means
not.
you don't care.
Yeah, we're shuffling them to fucking camps and church and performances and things like that. Oh god, I had to go last week. I had to go to a damn chorus thing that the school did, where I had to watch them play "Shake It Off" on buckets and like little pipes that they banged on the ground. Do you have any idea how much I hate that shit?
It was like Stomp.
Who
but
wants to
just
see that?
noise. It was Stomp. It was Taylor Swift.
Taylor
Swift.
Swift.
Taylor
Stomp.
shit.
And it was awful, and it was terrible. But I had to go. Gotta go. You gotta be there.
I got a call from the chat. Antonio says, "I can't wait to have kids so I can shit on them. It's all their fault."
It's all their fault.
My kids are great. Both of them are amazing.
Fun fact, Antonio: the kids shit on you. Actually,
That's true. Turn that around the other way. That's true. And all of the weird sicknesses that they get in the middle of nowhere that fuck up your entire week. It's
My son's in that stage where he's just bossy, and if you don't do what he wants you to do, look the F out. But tonight, I don't know. Every decision I made tonight was just the wrong one, and then it was just I couldn't.
He's how old now?
He's 2.
Oh god. Terrible.
Turn 2 in March, so he's super funny,
2 to
super
4
funny,
is,
but
the best.
he does I don't know, he does some crazy stuff too, and yeah, we make it hard on ourselves because we're still screen Nazis. I mean, he watches.
You guys are amazing parents. I always
can't
feel so
even
bad
imagine.
when Jason comes into our Discord and he drops some parent knowledge. He's like, "Yeah, we really don't let them do this or we don't do that, and we're applying the method of such and such." I'm like, I just hope they don't kill each other.
Guys,
I know, right?
I'm hiding in the closet right now, so my wife doesn't know I'm on Discord, and my son can't see me on Discord. But
yeah. I knew how to operate a VCR before I could talk.
Our problem is though, we do watch some. He does watch some Netflix and he does watch some YouTube stuff, but then he gets if we like right now, my wife's been sick, so she's been a little more lenient. But then he gets so fixated on it, and he just wants to watch, and then he has a meltdown if he does that, and then we're like, "Whoa,
wow,
time to cut it off," But. So he hasn't ever seen what a video game is or anything like that yet, and
by his age, I had my first Genesis.
That's the thing though. He's had no exposure to this stuff, but he knows how to use an iPhone. He knows how to do it, and it's crazy how little exposure and little exposure to that. And he is his thing is
it's omnipresent. It's around. They see you. They pick up on that stuff.
And at the same time though, it's there's a fine line though, because you want him to be familiar with that technology too, because you don't want him to be behind where everything where everything else is, because when he's in, I think it was a preschool that we toured for him, and he's technically on the waiting list for it. They have tablets and computers, and that's part of their curriculum.
That's insane
it's
to
crazy,
me. We made things with popsicle sticks.
Exactly.
And paper plates.
I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to grow up in this with technology.
I so badly wanted to give my kids everything I didn't have. So I was super lenient, and I broke all the rules. My mother-in-law hates me. I let my kids sleep with me until they were 2-3 years old. And that's the thing. Don't let them sleep in your bed. I was like, man, you're never going to get this chance again.
Yeah.
You get one chance at this, and then it's over. And then you'll reach the point where the kids don't even like you.
Yeah,
they don't even want to talk to you. And you still have to love them. And it's man, I need these nights.
Yep.
I need these nights now for the nights that are about to come.
Yeah, that's the line we walk to, where it's talking about only having one, because then it's did we really enjoy all the moments that we could have when he was little, and did we not do these, and we should have done it, been more in the moment for this, and then it's I can't imagine being Lucas right now and having Isaac, who's 3, and then having a newborn. I'm nope.
That's how my parents did it.
Can't do it. I mean,
I was 3 and my sister popped out.
I was scared to tell Justin on DLC this past month about Victoria, because my first daughter, well, my only daughter, but my first kid, dude, she came out just raising hell. And those first 2 years were hard. There's no way I could have ever had a podcast. She was terror of the planet. Like I didn't want to scare him off because she was colicky and it was nonstop crying for weeks. Like she made my wife cry. She made my grandmother cry. Like it was a 24-hour job. It was you got her from 6 to 12, and then I'll take her from 12 to 6, and mother-in-law will take her from 6 to 12 at night. I mean, it never stopped.
Yeah, that's
I was the gods like blessed me with Jack. Jack came in the world super chill, and he's been that way ever since.
He's so cute.
He's super
so
chill.
Cute.
If there was like one piece of a like, I hate when people give non-solicited parenting advice to people that are going to be new parents because that always happens.
Yes. It's a pain, man.
And you don't want to be that
I think
person.
there's a commercial about that.
But isn't there there's always that one thing though that nobody ever told you about or never warned you about,
but you
and
wish.
that you wished you knew? Do you have that piece of wisdom that you think you could pull out easily? That you could be like, nobody told me that this was going to happen.
Load it on me. I don't care.
It's not an easy one to just spring.
It's really not. I'm trying to think.
I always think of them, and as I was queuing up this question for you, and then I was like, I don't really have an answer to it. But I was like, this is Donnie. He's always ready.
Because of Caroline, because I know Caroline pretty well. We've gotten pretty close over the years. We're somewhat similar in this way. I have to remind myself to be so much more compassionate than I am. And then that level,
I don't give a fuck. I just
double it.
Yeah.
But the thing is with kids, they're so fragile.
Yeah, I know.
And
Here's
they
the
look
thing.
up to you so much, and to you, to them, you're everything. To Jack, I'm a superhero.
That's just it.
And you can't break that for them.
I was raised by a very hard woman, and I would be crying about something, and she'd say, "Shut up, suck it up, and deal with it." She was not compassionate. Even to this day, it's just very bizarre to get a hug from her. It's weird to hear her say, "I love you," stuff like that. And I have issues saying "I love you" because of it. Mm-hmm. It's very weird.
That's not a good thing.
I know.
Just, so you shouldn't be looking
so
to
I want to right those
situation.
wrongs.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, I'm going to be really awkward about it. And I'm kind of, I have no patience. So I'm just going to be like, shut the fuck up. I don't
That's
give a
why I said
shit.
it. Because the other day, Jack went to his friend's house and he mouthed off to their mom, and I jumped his shit.
Ooh,
because one of the things that I don't. So I said this earlier when we were talking on a different podcast, but I'm pretty chill around the house. My wife basically runs the show, and I just support her, and I really just kind of do whatever you want. I have very little, I don't know, global ideas for how things should go.
She writes the pages, but you just make sure you're on those same pages.
Yeah. And because when I come home, because at work I'm so involved, when I come home, it's the last thing I want to do is be involved in anything. So she sets the agenda, she sets the schedule, and that's what we do. And but with kids, man, I cannot stand for my kids to be bad. I take no shit when it comes to the children. You're gonna be on good behavior. You're not gonna treat people like this. You're not gonna say mean things. You're gonna have good grades. You're not gonna fuck around. My upbringing was not great, but my mom was very adamant that I do well in school for whatever reason. It was a must-have. Mm-hmm. I feared not doing well in school.
That's just it. I would get
Legit
my ass beat
fear.
if I got an A-. I would get my ass beat.
And I always did well. So, I don't threaten my kids with harm, but, I make sure that their life is uncomfortable when they don't do well in school or if they misbehave. Mm-hmm. And, I jumped my son's shit the other day, and my son is so just and, righteous. And he's such on the right path that even offsetting it, he just bust into tears. He's so sensitive, and he feels bad about himself. That's the other. He takes it on himself. This is a kid who's tried to turn in his birthday presents because he got in trouble. So he's I don't deserve these. He's that type of.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So he takes it hard. He takes it real hard, and I always have to tell him. I have to remind myself of that because I can be the way Caroline's describing. I'd be I remember I was telling my daughter last week, I was she said something to somebody. She said, to her babysitter. She was or not a babysitter. She goes with a teacher in an after-school program. She's telling the teacher in an after-school program how much she'd love to like live with her instead of her home. Now you hear that and you like get defensive. Like you see Caroline's face. That's the appropriate reaction. But you got to realize that they're kids, right? And the kids, they don't know, and then they're just spouting off at the mouth. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, do you have any idea, like how good you have it? Like compared to the way your dad was brought up, like you are fucking like this is pretty amazing, and it's like I gave you everything I wanted, but that's what kids do. Like they test you in all of those ways.
They do.
And my wife tells me that all the time. It's the one thing that she always gets me, man. She'll pull me by the shirt, like you've gotta remember, the kids, they're not adults, they can't process things like you can, and you can't treat them the way that you reactionarily want to. So I'm always having to like kind of kid glove them a little bit. Now, I'm very much in the Caroline vein. Like I'm pretty tough on them, and like if they fall down or get hurt or have like some stupid little drama, I'm like, all right. Like I remember my daughter's like trying to get into like early dating, right? She's almost about that age. She's about to be in middle school, right?
I'm so glad I don't have a daughter. I'm so
some
glad
boy called her thick.
What?
He texted her and called her thick. So there's like shit like that I'm dealing with. Now I've never been like that stupid cliche dad that I've always hated, like my mother-in-law's or my father-in-law. I'm not gonna like clean my gun or anything like that. That's ridiculous.
Hey boy, you got your shotgun out on your lap when you come by the house.
But like she got into like some inner squabble drama with her and her little girlfriend and this boy that they were talking to, and I had to sit her down and just like make her realize. I was like, look, I know that right now this feels like the world, like, right? This feels like everything to you and the world's waiting down and you'll never feel better. I'm like, seriously, in 2 years, you won't even know these two people.
No.
In 12 years, you won't even remember them. I was like, you have to keep perspective in mind right now. I was like, that's the only way you're going to get through this. I was like, because you're going to grow up and you're going to be awesome. You're going to meet new friends. You're going to go to high school. You're going to think that they're everything too. Then you're going to college. You realize that they were nothing. Then you're going to leave college, realize that they were nothing. You're going to get to work. You're going to go to like 3 or 4 different other jobs. You realize they were nothing.
They're
nothing.
Nobody.
Then you're going to find somebody that you actually care about. So I'm always trying to like bring like this glow. I wish somebody pulled me aside and like told me those things, but I didn't have like many parents, but I wish somebody was like,
oh, these are going to be my best friends forever.
Oh,
we're going to still talk and we're connected, especially
exactly.
now. Like I can't imagine, having to raise kids now with the ever-present connectivity that we didn't have.
It's hard.
You
really
always feel like you might have issues with a bully or have some shithead kid at school, but then you got home and they couldn't touch you, and you could just do whatever. You didn't have to worry about it. But now it's like if a kid, unfortunately it happens, a kid can still be attacked or have conflict all the time.
I have alerts on everything. I'm super big brother. We have alerts on all so many kind of keywords. I've got protocols on my router. I've got protocols on her device. I've got protocols on the network. I mean, she can't do much. She's basically in jail when it comes to internet, and she kind of hates it. It's funny because we've caught her sending messages through her friends' phones and stuff like that. Like, yeah. So the kids are smart. Like you gotta try hard. It's a try hard thing. You gotta put in effort. You can't just like coax through it. It's not gonna work. But like you said, if it's not hard, you're not doing it right.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. I mean,
damn children.
You just gotta adapt.
And there's the thing you gotta do as a parent. There'll always be that day where I hate you, and it's like, but I love you. Like that's gonna happen. It's totally gonna happen.
My biggest struggle now is my son's at the point when I leave in the morning, he gets really mad at me when I have to go to work, and and he vocalizes how unhappy he is that I'm going to work, and I'm like, this is the worst thing. So like here I go. It's like every day you go out and you're just like,
And then watch in like 3 years you're gonna miss that.
Exactly.
You're like he used to care.
Yeah. Which is funny because the funny thing, like my wife told me now, it's like before you got here, he's like he'll watch out the window because he knows like about what time I come home, and he knows about when I'm gonna call. He knows when to watch out the window, and he like sings this song about me coming home. But then sometimes I'll come home and he's just like, "You're not mom. I don't care about you." It's so funny. So yeah, kids will make you feel like the absolute best, Caroline, and they'll make you feel like the absolute worst all at the same time.
You'll get that moment where they shine through, and it's worth it.
It's so funny.
Before he died, the man that married us told me and Brian that our children would be the smartest children to walk the face of the earth or something, just based on the fact that like Brian and I were, I thought I was the smartest person I knew until I met Brian, and then Brian is just he makes me look like I should be in remedial class. It's just
Brian's
unbelievable.
very smart.
The boy is insane. He's just on a whole different level of thinking, and then he forgets like everything normal, like common sense. So I'm like,
that's kind of how it
let's
goes sometimes.
take some of that down and come back to earth.
Jason's in like prime WWE match territory, man. That 2 to 4 year old range, just sharpen up all of your wrestling moves.
Oh yeah,
they're so like foldable.
yeah.
Oh no,
Like,
that
it's
terrifies
so-
Yeah,
me.
like
it's
we
perfect.
went to the playground yesterday because it's finally nice out. It's like my wife hasn't been feeling well. She's gonna want some like time to herself at the house, so I take him to this playground, and he's like not super adventurous. He knows what he wants to do, and he's not gonna travel outside of that box. He's not the kid that's gonna run around screaming, go nuts. He's very much like, this is my zone. This is what I'm comfortable doing. I'm not gonna drift out of that. But he'll climb on stuff by himself. He won't go down. He'll go down some slides by himself. But he knows if it's a lot bigger than him, he's gonna want to hold your hand as he goes down. Because he's only 2. Most of the playground equipment's for like the 5.
Caroline's like,
whatever.
Suck it up, you baby.
Right? Well,
go down the damn slide.
The other,
She kicks him.
Yeah.
She's just like, boof.
I was like, he was on the smallest
do it.
set of equipment. He was standing there. I don't know what he was doing. He was like trying to come down the steps. All of a sudden, he just, I don't know if it's because he's still got that big old noggin and he's a little top heavy. All of a sudden, he just like down, and he landed like on the one step. Like, I just saw his neck just kind of go. I was like, oh god, this is going to be terrible.
Jason's
I'm
like, oh, he's dead.
I'm like, I gotta take him to the chiropractor. He's all out. He's all screwed up, and he just like, he's just like,
gets up, he's like-
he stands up and he's like shell shocked, and I'm like, are you all right? He's like, yeah. I was like, are you okay? He's like, yeah. I'm like, and he didn't cry. He just stood there for a second, and he's like,
They're
It's
resilient
fine.
as hell, man.
He was
they don't
more-
have
he
like
was-
those rigid bones and joints
yeah.
like we do.
He was more
They're like
upset.
rubber
that,
bands.
he was more upset that he pooped, not during that process, but like right
I was
before,
about to
right
say,
before it
I would
happened.
have shit myself too.
Right before it happened,
Oh,
all of a sudden
God.
he was like, because we're at that stage where we're about ready to start potty training, and he's really good
Yeah.
about knowing when he has to, but he does it like it's not like, it's still not like that. It's an okay for thing to do. I think he's like self-conscious about doing it, because all of a sudden he'll be like, "Do you need to poop?" And he's like, "No, no, no poop, toot." I was like, "Oh, you tooted?" Yeah. And then all of a sudden he'll just go. He gets that tight look on his face. And like his expressions freeze, and then you see him hunch up a little bit, and he's like, I was like, "Did you just poop?" No.
Oh, he
And
lies about
And the
it.
best, one time, my wife, he had gone already, and we changed his diaper, and all of a sudden he's like, "Poop again." I was like, "You need to poop again?" He goes, "Yeah." And all of a sudden I hear him do that, and he's like, ah. And then all of a sudden, and then under his breath he goes, all of a sudden under his breath he goes, "There." I was like, which is what he does sometimes when he's doing something. He'll be like, "There." And he's
There.
I do love how unfiltered children are.
oh
They
yeah.
learn
I've
things
always
so
loved
funny.
It's
Oh,
like, so like
gosh.
Victoria's in. So I've always said, like, Victoria has always been. She's more like me. She'll never cop to anything. You have to catch her because she'll lie to her grave. And I was very much like the same way. I was never gonna like incriminate myself. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Do you have proof that I did such? I don't know what you're talking about. Whereas Jack, like I said, he'll just give himself up. He'll tell on himself all the time. Like, he can't live with guilt. Whereas Victoria's like, I didn't do anything. And it's terrifying when you see it like live. But when they're young,
She just-
oh God, when they're young, it's so refreshing. I'm always like, I wish everybody was like you all the time. Jack once told a teacher he didn't like her face.
That's awesome.
And it was one of my favorite stories to tell.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I told it to my in-laws, and they were so mad at me. They were pissed that I let them do it.
My
They were so mad at me.
my brothers like.
Like her face.
So my middle brother is 7 years younger than me, and my youngest brother is 2 years younger than him. So there's a little age gap. But like when they went to school, they went to a different school than I did. But because they live with my dad, and I live with my mom. They introduced like, it was like grandparents' day or something like that. They introduced them, and this is my grandma Effie, because that's what my grandpa's always called her. And then this is my grandpa Wolfman, and this is my ugly grandma. And that's how he introduced his mother's mom, is my ugly grandma. That's
amazing.
That's what they always called her, ugly grandma.
Oh, it's
And
so
she thought
good.
it was funny, but that's what they called her. I was like, that's terrible. But at the
We
same
were
time,
I was at a PTA conference where Victoria was getting bullied, and I told her to punch the kid, and she did. She punched him in the face.
Hell yeah.
By the way, you can't tell kids that anymore. So I get called into the office, and I get like guilted into like, did you tell a child to hit another child? And I was like,
Hell
yeah,
yes, I did.
Fucking did.
That's exactly what I said. I was like, I absolutely did. And they're like, you blah blah blah, you know, like, and I was like, wait a minute. Anyway, I don't want to tell the whole story, but like, essentially, the short version is, my daughter tells me she's being bullied. I tell her to tell the teacher. She tells the teacher. She still gets bullied. I tell her to tell the teacher again. She did that. Like, it's documented twice. She told the teacher, brought a note and everything. And then I was like, just punch the kid in the face. She's like, what are you talking about? She's like, I'll get in trouble. And I was like, and I told her, this is the part that got me in trouble. I said, and if you do, I will take you to the movies. I was like, you and I will go to the movies and we will get milkshakes. Teach that fucker a lesson. He was taking her lunch money. He was taking my money.
Oh,
I was like, if you don't punch him in the face, I'm going to punch him in the face. Like, you know, like, and she did. She punched him square in the nose.
Nice. Good on her.
And the teacher was pissed. And I was like, look, my daughter told me that she told you. And I have this note here from you saying that she told you and you still haven't done anything about it. And I was like, so I'm not, maybe you apparently thought she was lying. But you know, she wasn't. Anyway, you can't do that in today's age. Like, they treat you like you're a Viking or a Neanderthal. They looked at me like I was like the worst parent in the world. But while this was going on,
Donnie Reese heathen that comes into our
oh
school.
yeah, just like, how dare he even have children? And my in-laws were the same way. They're like, Donnie, you can't.
Why aren't you castrated?
And the entire time while I was meeting with the teacher's assistant was watching Jack. We were in the room together, and Jack was like, I don't know, he had like Batman and some figures or some shit, and he was beating them all up together, and he's beating them up, you know, doing what boys do.
Yeah.
And this sweet teacher's assistant's like, well, you know, why are you making them all fight? Jack was like 4, and he's like, well, I like fighting. And she goes, well, I just don't think I like that. And he was like, yeah, I don't think I like your face. And
It's amazing.
and I busted out laughing in the room. I just died laughing, like you are right now. I just died laughing. And she looked at me like, you're allowed to say that to me? And I was like, I wish I could be that honest with people in life. Like, he's so.
I'd expect it to be like that conversation around the dinner table in Talladega Nights. And he's like, I'm going to beat your ass, Chip. You know what, Chip?
Threw a bunch of Grandpa Chip's war medals off the bridge.
Yeah, they're a bunch of winners, Chip, and I'll let them talk to you however I want.
We have Blue D or Blue Blood.
Blue Blood.
He says, would you like it if another parent told their kid to hit yours? I wouldn't, but I also don't think my kids would treat another kid to that point. If my kids did that, I would actually. If my kids took somebody else's lunch money and they got beat up for it,
if your kid was being the ass, then you'd be like, well, you know what, you were being an ass, so that's why.
Yeah, and then they would get punished for being an ass, and I would apologize to the other child. But yeah, I mean, yes. So it works both ways.
I haven't.
That's why my kid got lit up for talking back to the kid's parent the other day. My son got seriously just destroyed.
I have to.
My mother came to the preschool playground one time. There was a boy that was just always touching and pinching other kids.
Oh, he had a crush on you, Caroline.
No, everybody, boys and girls alike. He just played rough, and the teacher said, "Well, we've." Tried telling him and we've disciplined him and he won't stop. And my mom said, I'm going to put a stop to this right now. And she brought me in herself that day instead of letting me out of the car. And she went up to him and she said, if you ever touch my daughter or anyone again, your mother may not spank you, but I will throw you into the wall. And
Jesus, that's too far.
Never.
Me and that mom would have words. That's too far. That's too far. I only had
hilarious.
I've had one situation.
My mom was the shit.
I've had one. My mom was not. I have one situation where something like that happened. It's an interesting one. I'd be interested to hear you guys' take on it. So I've already told you like how Jack is, and you guys kind of know Jack, so I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, he's very self-conscious. He's very justified, and he's very like righteous. Jack doesn't do bad things. It's the demeanor of my kid, and that's not me saying like my kid can do no wrong. I very much acknowledge that Victoria can. Like, if somebody was like, Victoria got caught doing some shit, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
This
checks out.
Yeah. So I go to a daycare when we moved here, maybe 2 years ago. Go to daycare, and I go to pick up Jack, and Jack comes out of the hallway where the kids, they release him to us, and he is in fucking tears. And his blushed cheeks and face and everything. And he's like, Dad, I'm so sorry and everything. I got in trouble. And he's got like this note and everything. And he's holding his arm. And I'm like, what is the matter with you? And he wouldn't tell me, and he was scared to tell me and everything. So I go get Victoria. I'm like, Victoria, what the fuck just happened? Because this is very out of the norm, you know? Like, and most of the time I'm not really like, you know, paying much attention. I'm like, whatever, kids are kids, you know? But now I'm like, I'm invested. I'm like, wait a minute, this is weird. Something's not right here. So Victoria tells me that these kids are fighting. And Jack tries to break up the fight. And the teacher thinks Jack's fighting. And grabs Jack, slams him against the wall. And like, apparently hurt his arm. Like, he's grabbing his arm, and his arm was like all red. It wasn't like too bad. It was fine. If some other kid did it to him, I'd be like, you know, suck it up. This is an adult, and you could tell like he's shell shocked. You know, like he's legit. He's scared to say anything. He's already in trouble. He's scared he's gonna get in more trouble. Like, so, you know. So I'm sitting there like, so I pull him out, and we haven't even left yet. I pull him out in the parking lot. I'm like, tell me what happened. And he tells me the exact same thing. Now, I should have mentioned, I asked Victoria to tell me what happened separate from him. He tells me the exact same story that Victoria tells me. And I'm like, so this teacher just like jumped her shit. And like this, I feel like this is like that classic scenario where like the parent gets upset with the administrator because their parent, you know, their kids can do no wrong. Yeah. And I hate those stories, and I hate those parents. Yeah. You know? So I was like, I was very much trying not to be, I was like, you know, let's see if this checks out. And it totally checked out. So I walk in there and I ask the lady, because, you know, daycare, cameras and stuff. I go, I want to see the camera. Because we were talking about it. I was like, well, both my kids just told me a story that I don't think matches up with what your administrator says. And I was like, I'm a little concerned here because your administrator told me that my son was beating up this. I should have mentioned this kid was a special needs kid. And he's Jack's friend. So Jack's friend, the story at the end of the story was a kid was beating up on the special needs kid who was a friend of Jack's.
Okay.
So Jack stepped in.
He was trying to break it up. Bless his heart.
And so they kind of refused. They're like, sir, we just don't think we have time. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And I'm sitting out there. And I'm like, you realize I have like lights and sirens on my car? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, I'm going to call the police and you're going to show me this videotape. I was like, I really want to see what happened. I was like, I'm not trying to tell you what you did was right or wrong. I was like, but I know how my son is, you know, I've known him his whole life. I'm going to trust him on this one. And I was even like kind of making the jokes. I was like, if this is Victoria, maybe we'd have words. I was like, but this is Jack. And I know better, and I want to see it. I want to see it right now. And like, it's the only time I've ever like been that parent. Yeah, you know, like that stereotypical.
Well, rightfully so.
Ass. And I was like, no, I want to see it, and I made them, and I did. I had to call the police and everything. And then they show me the video camera, and the video camera shows exactly what Jack and Victoria said. They pull the tape, and they show these two kids. One kid starts hitting the other kid. Jack tries to pull him by his backpack. The kid turns around and swings, so Jack grabs him, and then you just see this lady come rushing in, man, grab these things and just threw all the kids against the walls. And I was like, do you not think any of this was a little excessive? I would say I was pretty calm. Like, I didn't like raise my voice. I wasn't cussing or anything like that. I was pretty pissed off. I think rightfully so.
Well, yeah.
And I was like, do you realize like this person just like grabbed my kid, threw him around, and then you traumatized him. You told him what he did was bad. You gave him this whole disciplinary thing, and then you like told him he was going to get in trouble. And you told me he was in trouble, expecting me to make him in more trouble. And you didn't even check the tape. You just took this thing at face value. Anyway, it was an interesting situation because I didn't want to feel like a dick. You know, I would never want to be like just a cocky ass parent. But it was one of those situations where, you know, you get a little defensive. They're your kids, and if you feel like they need somebody to stick up for them, obviously, like that's your job. You know, that's what you're supposed to do. And anyway, the lady ended up quitting. She quit like 3 days later.
Oh wow!
I didn't ask for her to be fired or anything, but I did ask for, you know, just desserts. I was like, you know, at one point I was like, so what are you going to do? I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, look, I'm not telling you to fire the lady, but obviously she did something wrong. Like, you thought my kid did something wrong and you did something.
You can't just jump to a conclusion and then throw kids up against the wall like that. I mean.
Yeah.
Well, they probably told her she was a liability, and either she quits or they have to fire her.
But I remember my wife came, and she, you know, I was causing a scene because I wouldn't let them close.
Excuse me.
I wasn't going to leave.
Donatello, what did you do? Here's your full name.
Like, I mean, that was the thing. I wasn't going to let them leave. You know, like I was staying in the daycare. I was like, no, you're not leaving. like this isn't happening. Like, I'm going to see this right now. And you know, so the kids were like, Dad, let's just go. Melissa was like, let's just go. I was like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
This is bullshit. Like, this is garbage.
I want Donnie to be my dad.
Oh, I was not. Yeah, that's like
that was
the
a bad
only
choice of words. I'm done. Never mind.
I mean, he is the dad of PSVG, isn't he? He's always like, it's not, it's not like he's upset with you guys, but he's like, you didn't put that tweet out. I'm really disappointed. I mean, you couldn't take the 2 seconds to thank the patrons in that tweet. I mean,
I just wanted anyway, I don't know how would you guys feel like if like, Jason, if your son was like, I didn't do it.
Oh, I mean,
like it's a tough situation.
Well, especially
to be
you had the 2 kids though, so you got the 2. It's not like they had a chance. It's not like they have
When to
the
look
mental
at-
idea to co-conspire on something anyway. And you got them both, and you had 2 stories. Like I have only 1 kid, so but I'm also at that point like, don't you touch my kid? I'm at that ultra protective. And then it's like when other people that don't like. I mean, I've talked about it on the show before. When we get to that situation where we go somewhere, we try to be involved and actively present in whatever our son's doing. It's not like we take him to a park or to the library or someplace where he can just do whatever, and then I'm like, well, Twitter time for me, and then you just click out, and then these kids run around being shits and doing whatever to other people's kids, and it's like,
Sure.
If your kid comes up and I don't want to have to. It's that awkward phase where, like, your kid comes up to my kid and is being an ass or doing something he shouldn't be. I don't want to have to yell at someone else's kid.
Yes.
I expected you to handle your own shit.
It's one of those things where, like, if it was the kids, if Jack was like, this kid did something and I did something, then I would correct him and be like, look, you can't be fighting kids,
Right.
unless it's warranted. There are situations where it just is warranted. That's just life. Like, that's going to happen. I think everybody has taken one in life, right? Everybody's going to take one on the jaw. It just happens. I'm not saying it's good, it's bad, it's right, it's wrong. I'm just saying it happens. So you need to be prepared for it and be ready for when your day gets called. Like, that happens sometimes. But like, if that happened, I'd be like, you have any idea? Like, I'm such that parent. I think to most people, I'm like a terrible parent because I'm like, kids are kids. What the fuck you gonna do? Like, that's kind of how I am. I'm like, But like, this just seemed like much more involved, and I think the thing that set me off was like how much he was upset. He was so upset about it.
Yeah.
Because he could just tell. Like, he wears it on his face. Like, he wears it on his sleeve. He was just he was so distraught over it. Like, he felt like he let everybody down. Like, and he was terrified. He was scared. He was scared to talk. And I was like, something's wrong here.
Yeah. Poor baby.
And at first, that's the thing that I always remember.
And that's the
it.
kid I beat down in Smash Bros. And take a sick pleasure in it. I'm an asshole.
He still loves talking about you in Smash Brothers.
I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't? I mean,
it's just the thing. It always sticks with me because I felt like I was being an asshole.
Right.
Like, you never like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I could just go home and let this go. Like, I could just not push it.
Yeah.
No, I think that woman needed to know her faults.
Yeah.
It's weird. I think every parent's going to run into that. There's going to be a day where you feel like a complete asshole.
Yeah.
I don't care. Dude, I give 0 shits of other people's opinions of me. 0.
Yeah, but like, you could also be in the wrong. Like, you don't want to do that either, because that's
true.
doubly worse. It's
True.
doubly worse when you act a fool and you're like, oh shit, I fucked up. I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
Yeah.
I've done that. I've been there too. So it comes with the territory. Kids, man. Kids talk.
I mean, that's
talk.
We went to Journey. We've come a circle. I think we've come to a good place here. I think.
Have we?
I don't know.
Feels very like sad.
Hey, I'll tell you. It might feel sad, but here's what we came to. Before we started the show, I was like, you guys, I don't want to do 2 shows tonight. We're just gonna package Nintendo Shack. I'm just gonna put it on my feed and it's done. And look at you're like, no, Jason, you got to do the show, and we've done the show.
Gotta do it.
I feel good. I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we talked about some stuff. I feel better about things. We did
Talked about life.
We did some vocal therapy tonight.
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, is it entertaining and fun, as we like to say in Fluxtaposed? I don't know, but I had a good time, and really, I don't care about anybody else. So, I mean, that
seems to be the central theme for all 3 of us in the show.
Yeah, I mean, that's what matters. I mean, Dev was like, I need my OC remix break, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Dev, 2 weeks in a row, I'm not giving the OC remix break during the show. It just
too much programming. It's editing, cutting, and
there's
slicing.
that, and you just got. It wouldn't be right to just disrupt that flow. It would have killed the conversation. Couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Carol, you got to get up early. I got to get up early. Donnie, you got to not go to work tomorrow. So I think I feel complete tonight. I think we've got all the Fluxtaposed in that we need to get. So on that note, I want to say thank you to everyone for watching live. Thank you for people listening at home, but special thanks to our Arbiters of Awesomeness, Josh Brown, Kevin Austin, Kyle Heyman, Tyler Allen, Thomas Servo, hey, Donnie Reese, that's you, Matt Knight, and our Executors of Excellence, Edwin Callow, Dude 427, and of course, those Crusaders of the Legion, Josh Barboni, Dan Anthony, and Devin Tyus. We thank you all for your support, and please, you can join the Flux Legion over at patreon.com/Fluxtaposed. If Lucas was here, we'd have a sweet Yoda voice. Donnie, can you do a Yoda voice?
I'm not even going to try.
No, I can't.
Carol, do you do a Yoda voice?
No.
All right, no Yoda voice this night. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, guys. It was great doing 2 podcasts with you. Let's do it again. And thank you, everyone else. We will see you, maybe with Lucas, next week. Bye-bye.
Dun 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 dun
Dun, 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 dun,
dun
dun, 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 dun.